Hey, welcome back, everybody. Thank you for sticking around. About Olympics, just sort of what's going on, some of the interesting stuff that's happened, the controversies. Before we dig into more of the Russian stuff, I mean, what do you think about Michael Phelps getting just more and more medals? Simone Biles, the most decorated Olympic gymnast in history for the Americans. No Americans ever won 4 golds or 4 medals.
Yeah. Something. Well,
four golds in the same Olympics. And she's absolutely just insane. If you've seen her routines, she is just ridiculous what she's able to pull off. How about that? Or that other swimmer of ours, Ledecky, who beat her own world record by almost 2 full seconds.
Yes. Oh yeah. Did you see her when she did that?
I couldn't believe it.
They have this thing called the world record line. It's
a
yellow line.
A full body length.
And she was a full body length, and she kept pulling away. She started out kind of even, and then every time she made a turn, she further and further.
Yeah.
And at the end, she was just gone. It was amazing.
Amazing. So what do you think? I mean, you fill us in on what happened with this boxer.
So there's an Irish boxer, and he's up there, and he's fighting the Russian boxer. And it goes 3 rounds. Now, I had to watch it on a replay, so it was edited in places, so I didn't get to see the real one. But from what I saw, and keep in mind, I'm a fight doc, so I kind of do know what I'm talking about when I'm looking for here. The boxer from Ireland whomps on this guy, beats him down. Honest to goodness, it would be like The Rock storming in here. I might be a speed bump, but then he corners you in the back and pummels you good. Mm-hmm. So I might disrupt him for a second as he puts me down, but Maddie's going to get got. You're going to get got. That was what the fight was like. Just complete annihilation of the Russian. And yet he won in a unanimous decision. The Russian did. And so, the Irish was going like, man, bro, how much did Putin pay you? He tweeted that out, which was a lot of fun. And he was upset. And this goes back to, well, hold on. Sochi, the Russians got more medals than they've ever gotten at any time, anywhere, for any reason. You can even add up a summer and winter Olympics, and they still didn't get that many medals. So what's going on? Well, we got them cheating. Well, now we're letting cheaters in, and now we're giving awards and medals to the Russians that truly they don't deserve. Because the next story is this kid's name is Jan Belekian, and he is from Zimbabwe, and I don't know how he wound up in Ukraine. I can't remember at the moment. Anyway, he's a Ukrainian wrestler. They're wrestling for gold. And I was watching this because I like wrestling. And the Ukrainian guy, don't get me wrong, it wasn't a dominant performance, but he was doing pretty good. And the first round was kind of even, but the Russian went up 2-0, right? Just by happenstance. The second round, they're out there. The Ukrainian kid out wrestles this other guy, gets his 2 points. It's even. The third round, because it's 3-minute round. Mm-hmm. The third round, they come out here. This Ukrainian kid, 6 waves from Sunday, tears that Russian apart. Now, I used to be a wrestler in high school, so it's not like I'm a professional, but at least I understand the basics. This Ukrainian wrestler tore apart the Russian, tore him apart. And every once in a while, the referee would go, 1 point, and then 2 points. And honest to goodness, I thought he was talking about the Ukrainian. I'm like, yeah, I could see that. And then suddenly he goes 4 points, right? So now it's 7-2 the Russian way. So the Ukrainian guy gets up and he goes, hold on. There's no way that this could have happened. Because every time that Ukrainian got the other guy on the back, the Russian would get a point. And so you're like, well, how did that happen? And if you start looking at this, you have a swimmer, you have a runner, you have all, the only track and field person that was allowed from the Russians got sent home because they got caught doping again. And you're like, how are they even still in the thing? And don't even start me with the Chinese. I mean, the Chinese have documented 11-year-old girls in women's gymnastics. And again, remember the last time they had a webpage and they showed the real age. So that's kind of where they went. And so it's one of those things that, I think, my brother Joe says, well, Olympics is about athletics. Yeah, duh. But the problem is it's also about world prestige. And here's an interesting question, because you're kind of a globalist, aren't you?
I like, what do you mean?
Well, you kind of like I don't want to say it this way because it's not accurate, but like the one world order. Do you think that, we ought to have one global government and all that other stuff? Do you believe that?
No, not necessarily.
Not necessarily? Well, rats. So here's my question to Lefty, who's the closest thing we have to a globalist. If we do have a global government, what's going to happen to the Olympics? I mean, because right now it's all about, prestige.
Well, I mean, we have one United States and we still have NFL teams.
Yeah, that's true.
So
about the Olympics, this is one of the few sports that's truly worldwide.
Well, it's yeah. I mean, we have the world. We have the World Cup. That's fairly popular. I don't know. I mean, I kind of think that the way that we do the Olympics now is sort of dumb. Having like setting 2 weeks aside, especially like 2 weeks aside in the middle of the summer, and you're having these athletes compete outdoors in these really, really brutal temperatures. That's not very cool. That's not the peak of human performance right there.
Well, as a collectivist and a fighter for the downtrodden, you should be angry that every time a country gets the Olympics,
it's awful. It is awful. That's awful. I mean, the system of how they toss out cities is. I mean, I think it's fairly well documented how problematic it can be and how corrupt some of those things are. Although it's the kind of corruption that's like, they talk about how FIFA is so corrupt. It's a soccer federation. Who cares? Who cares if people are getting kickbacks and stuff? And if South Africa bribed a bunch of people to what does it matter? That I don't. Maybe I'm not a big enough sports fan to really care. But what does it matter that South Africa got the World Cup as opposed to a different country? Because they paid a little bit more in bribes. That, to me, that's not the kind of corruption that I'm concerned about. Since FIFA is not making policy that for anybody other than their own players that choose to be there. But the Olympics is a lot like that. But. And I suppose we have these governments that are spending taxpayer money. That's a problem, obviously, to get the games. But the way the games are picked is messed up. And these cities are just very few cities come out on top after they have the Olympics. I think Atlanta was one. I think Atlanta was able to use their Olympic buildings for something decent. But I mean, Sochi is a mess. What was it? Was it Calgary? There, I mean, and
that was a mess. London was the best one, and they still took a hit in the pocketbook, and it's still a mess.
But and then Serbia, when Serbia had
Herzegovina.
That's the worst one is over in the Caucasus. That would where you can go take tours of the bones of those old buildings that just aren't used by anything. It's just it's terrible. And cities that, like we heard very famously, Boston said, no, we don't want thank you.
Well, one of the things I heard about Sochi is they had 100,000 dog carcasses that they couldn't get rid of because of all the strays. So the smell at Olympic Village was horrible. Well, we're up against a break. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back. I'm going to ask Lefty this next question. Where should the Olympics be held next time? And then we're going to start moving on to, Donald Trump, presidential politics, and, believe it or not, some local politics. Be back.